Jeff, thanks so much for joining us tonight and being a part of the Epic Fantasy Podcast. Now, you in your bio it says you lived in, I want to get this, was it Minnesota and then moved to California?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I grew up in northern Minnesota and I lived 35 years in the Great White North. And then, I don't know, like 14 years ago, I moved to California. And, once I got a taste of this weather, there was no going back.
Oh no, I totally understand that. Going from snowy winters to well, I guess depending on what part of California, are you more northern or more southern?
No, yeah, I'm south of LA and I'm about a mile and a half from the ocean. So
Oh man.
my weather in the winter, it's, a cold day is 55.
Oh well, I'm very envious. I've actually been to that part of California, and I agree. Once you see that part, it's hard to go and enjoy any other place. That's a beautiful part of U.S. So you don't think you could be convinced to move back to the frozen wastes of Minnesota, right?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's okay.
Yep.
Um, here's an interesting tidbit for you, Jeff. Every guest that I have on, I lead him through a quiz, and I actually went looking for your name because your last name is pretty specific. My I the other day was traveling with my wife. Funny, it was to California, and I got a phone call. And normally, like spam phone messages, now with robocalling and stuff, you ignore. But this person left a message, and it said, "Hey, you need to call me back. My name is also Ronald G. Long, and I have information you need." Basically, oh no,
Okay.
there was another Ronald Long who had received our rental car email for some reason. He's like, "I'm sure you need this. It happens to me all the time. I get tons of Ronald Long information. So here, you need this now." Had never happened to me before. I have met other Ronalds, never met any other Ronald Longs. Have you run into any other Kohaneks like outside of your immediate family? Have you ever run into any other of your tribe out there?
Yeah. It's actually at the Minneapolis airport. Like the guy who's the head of TSA
Oh,
for the airport, I guess, has the same last name, but he's not related to me in any way. So that's kind of random.
no, yeah, that is random. So there's no relation whatsoever, but there are other
No.
Kohaneks out there.
Yeah, there are a few.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you are going to be related to this person that I went looking for. I went looking for some Kohaneks in the past so I could quiz you on, and I found one. An interesting guy.
Okay.
I actually found a newspaper from the Minneapolis Star from 1933, and so 1933. There's a guy. His name was Cleon Kohanek. All right. First off, does that ring a bell to you? Do you know any Cleon
It
Kohaneks?
it does not.
Oh,
I don't know that name.
I
No.
was kind of hoping I could like land on a grandfather without knowing about it, but okay. Well, anyway, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a quick quiz on the family Kohanek, and this is specifically about one guy who was mentioned in a newspaper in 1933, Cleon. And so this clipping that I found, he actually signed up for this sporting event, and it was different than what he normally did. It was talking about how he was a gritter, played on the Marshall football team, and he normally was a fullback, but this time he was competing in a different sport. Here's your quiz part. Was it A, horse racing, B, ice skating, or C, boxing his friend Owen Trickery?
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with C because it's very specific.
Okay.
Owen trickery.
Owen Trickery. All right, so
Okay.
it was actually ice skating. All right, it's B.
Oh, okay.
Owen. All right, so hold on. You'll see a theme here though. Let's see. Did Cleon? Oh, okay. How many people were competing in this ice skating competition. All right, so was it either A, 21, B, 31, B, 71, or C, 31, including his friend Owen Trickery?
We'll go with A, 21.
Okay, surprisingly, ice skating was apparently a really popular sport back in the day.
Oh, it's 71.
71 other people were trying to ice skate this guy. So that is what was going on there. All right, so, and here's something else for you. Cleon Kohanek specifically made the newspaper because A, it was his third race, B, he was blind, or C, he was racing his friend Owen Trickery.
Wow, I'm going to go with B because he was blind. That would be awesome.
It would be awesome. I was trying to help you there. He was racing his other football friend, Owen Trickery, who I thought was
so that was real.
That actually was a thing. Owen Trickery. So, like, Cleon Kohanek and his other football buddy, Owen Trickery. I don't know about you, like, any type of family tree is fascinating to me. Have you ever done any research on the Kohaneks or your genealogy or things like that? Found out anything interesting?
Well, I have an aunt who went through that exercise, and I basically benefited from her,
cool.
Efforts. So that was, one interesting thing is we actually had a relative who went through the Ellis Island, process for immigration back in the late 1800s. So, or it's like 1889 or something. But that was, that's where we came in. But when they came over, the name wasn't Kohanek. They changed it to that from something Polish, because that's what the background is. And they thought that Kohanek was easier. And here's the kicker. In Polish, it means lover. So
it means lover. Look at you.
It means lover. So that's really the name that they chose. It's interesting.
My full name is Ronald Gregory Long, to R.G. Long, and I think it means Ronald means vigilant, and Gregory means advisor to the king. So not in charge, just the vigilant or vigilant. I can speak words. Vigilant advisor to the king. I like yours better. That's that's awesome, man. Hey, you have a ton of epic fantasy books that you have written. Have you ever done any type of family history things with that? Any characters inspired by, what happened maybe in the past that you got to make up for them? I love in your bio you say that your epic fantasy characters are trying to exist against all odds in the world the author has made for them. Like,
okay. My first series, which is Runes of Asalia, it really centers around a character that who is treated as an outcast. Being an outcast, he's he doesn't have much family history because his kind of roots are pretty low, like a lowborn. But by the end of the series, his position in society is much different. And then I wrote a follow-up series that occurs 18 years later, and it's he's part of it, and his children are part of the main story, right? They're protagonists. So what it happens is he kind of like forged his own destiny, and his own history and genealogy became important at that point. He's like the place where it kind of flipped and changed direction for his family.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool. And that follow-up series is the box set Heroes of Asalia. Is that correct?
Actually, it's the follow-up series is called Wardens. of Azalea.
Wardens of Azalea. Okay.
Yeah, Heroes. What Heroes is? I basically took my 3-book Runes of Azalea trilogy, and there was a standalone prequel that's kind of like tied to the story, but set hundreds of years in the
Yeah.
past, and I just put it together in a box. So for like one low price, you can kind of get the trilogy and then this standalone prequel, which I wrote honestly as kind of a treat to fans of the series. So it's loaded with fan
Oh,
service.
perfect. I love that. So Heroes of Azalea is the box set that's currently it's on sale right now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 99 cents on Amazon, for the ebooks. Should be on all stores, all locations, Amazon.
Yeah. Would that be where you would suggest people start? I mean, obviously 99 cents is a good deal. Would you suggest people
Yeah.
start there with your series, or would you say, oh no, you need to read something else before you dive into the world of Azalea?
No, that's definitely the place to start. You read if and if you read those books and enjoy them, you kind of get more of the same characters and my writing style in the same world, but with a completely different type of plot and background in my follow-up series, which is more like the first one's kind of your classic coming of age epic fantasy where hero gets his powers. Hero, kind of forms a group of people around him, and then they go off on a quest, and then in the end there's an epic battle, save the world kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? The follow up is a little bit different. It's a more about the rise of an enemy empire that kind of just has different
Hmm.
ideals. They don't believe that magic is okay. They're like they want to see it gone, and the kingdoms want to see it remain and think that it's okay that these magic users should be protected. And it ends up being kind of like there's a lot of
Ooh.
espionage and subterfuge, intrigue, betrayal. So it's a little bit different type of tone, but still that same world. Um, so that was fun to write as well.
No, that's
A little
neat
different.
that you could do both, and neat that your character is like you said in your first series, is kind of making himself. He's a self-made guy. In your second series, dealing with his kids in the in the future that he made for himself, in the path that he made for himself. So that's something interesting for sure that I think that'd be super cool to check out. I actually went on Amazon, and I believe this is either the first little bit of Runes of Azalea or just your introduction to the box set. It says, "The return of a long lost magic, a desperate quest for an enchanted relic, the final battle to save mankind from extinction." I mean, these are some high stakes you've got set
Right.
here.
Well, epic
Oh
fantasy,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
All right, that's
It's
awesome, man. I am definitely intrigued from that, and from looking at your covers. I mean, they're gorgeous covers that you've got here, man. Those are great.
Yeah, thanks. I have a talented cover artist. He does a great job.
Awesome. Uh, Before I let you go, um, so this is supposed to be a podcast for readers. What are you hoping readers kind of get from your book that, or from your series of books that they may not get from another epic fantasy author or another fantasy author? What's something that you think, hey, I bring this to the table, I put this in my writing, and maybe this is just a little bit unique to what I'm writing and why?
Yeah. So when people ask me and they kind of get in these discussions about the art of the writing,
Right.
etc., and I kind of tell them, well, I'm not so focused really on art. I'm writing to entertain. Like I'm the Marvel movie that so just come and you're just gonna have fun and have characters that you can like they're likable, engageable characters, engaging
Mhm.
characters. But at the same time, I do have like subtle things that I'm trying to convey in the background. Like the first series, this outcast, he's dealing with prejudice. So really, there's kind of like this this undertone of trying to get people to be a little bit more compassionate and inclusive.
Yeah.
And then the second series, one of my main characters is physically disabled. He's super bright, like one of the most intelligent kids of his era,
Yeah.
and he's a late teen. But his legs don't work. He has to use 2 canes and braces in order to walk around. Well, that ends up being his motivation, right? The whole reason he is so driven to try to like create new things is he wants to be useful, right? So just trying to get people to kind of like put themselves in the position of somebody who has challenges, and maybe they'll be more empathetic.
Oh no, that's awesome. I think that is a really unique and great perspective that you can bring to people who are reading your books, and I honestly think we can all use a little bit more empathy in our world for sure. Man, Jeff, thank you so much for talking with me and for letting some of my readers know what's going on. Like I said, the Heroes of Azalea is on sale on Amazon, 99 cents. Until what date do you have, Jeff?
Until the end of August.
End of August. So you've got a while to act on this, but don't forget, go ahead, get it now. $4 for 99 cents, and get the interesting and unique perspective of Jeff Kohanek. Jeffery L Kohanek, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I want to
That's
make sure I
correct.
get that right. Okay, very cool. Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for joining us and talking on the podcast, man. I really greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is
Awesome.
fun.
Oh, everybody, thank you so much for listening this week. Thank you again for being a part of the Epic Fantasy Podcast. If you've got a question for Jeff, leave it in the comments. Tag him so that he might be able to get to that and to maybe answer it later on. Thank you again for listening. I hope, as always, you enjoy the journey. I'm RG Long. I write the books. We'll see you guys next week.